We got a bombshell report around the 2024 NFL Draft as it is looking like the New England Patriots are open to trading the number 3 pick in this year's upcoming draft. So where does that leave the Minnesota Vikings? Are they going to be sending a Godfather offer to go get their guy Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy? We'll get into that here in a second, but let's get into the bombshell report that dropped a couple hours ago from Dianna Russini. She tweeted this out. She said the New England Patriots are listening and taking calls from teams looking to move up into number 3. Well, Elliot Wolf is running point. I'm told the Patriots president, Jonathan Kraft, is heavily involved in decision making. We'll dive into this report and more just around the corner. But guys, the draft is here this Thursday. And if you aren't subscribed just yet, I don't know what you're doing. No matter the report, the time or day it comes out, we will be making a video for you guys ASAP. And we're also going to be going live 30 minutes before the first pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in as your go-to Vikings YouTube channel. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the show. So let's talk about the report that the Patriots are open to trading down. And I do want to make this point before we dive into today's show. If you guys do know, there's a Twitter account amongst Vikings fans who did tweet out a couple weeks ago saying that he believes a deal between the Vikings and Patriots is fully done. And then he actually tweeted out a couple hours ago after the Dianna Russini report that the Vikings and Patriots are only a couple draft picks away from getting this deal done. So make sure you guys do stay tuned. It could be happening any second now. But I want to get to this point. It has been clear from every tea leaf I've read, just connecting the dots, that I do believe that Drake Maye is the number 1 option for Minnesota. And if the Patriots are open to trading that pick, I don't care what it requires. You go get your guy, because if he does end up being Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, that level of quarterback, the Vikings are going to be competing for Super Bowls for the next 10 seasons. And if you are worried about maybe trading up to 3 and having, the Commanders trade Drake Maye, well, all signs are still pointing to Daniels going number 2. We've heard reports that, his camp wasn't too happy with Adam Peters. And, I understand that is definitely still a case. But, from what I've been reading as of lately, I think Daniels is going to end up in Washington. I think that's been the pick that they have been very clear about and very certain on who they're taking is Daniels at that number 2 selection for a very long time. But even more juice to the Vikings trading up with the New England Patriots. This is what Adam Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show the other day. He said the 2 teams that have expressed interest the most in trading up with New England has been the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants, another sneaky team to watch out for. But this is the trade idea I've tossed out on the channel countless times. It would be the Vikings obviously landing number 3, and then you're going to have to send a Godfather offer. I think it's going to require the 2024 first, 2024 first, number 23, and then the first-round pick for next season. Then also sprinkle in a 7th-round pick. And I've even seen thrown out there that the Vikings could include the 2026 second-round pick. And if it would take that to go get Drake Maye, I would 100% do it. But what you might be asking yourself, why would the Patriots want to move off that pick? They have a need at quarterback. The only QB that they are, certain with on their roster is, Jacoby Brissett, still Bailey Zappi, but I don't think they want to, start either of those guys. So they are interested in a quarterback, but why would they accept this trade? Their roster isn't ready. I think if you look at that roster top to bottom, you got KJ Osborne as a wide receiver 2, shout out to him, but you really don't have a true 1, and you have a shaky offensive line, and you have a first-year head coach, first-year management. I just don't think they are necessarily as ready as a team like the Minnesota Vikings are. And what about this? What if they like a bunch of these top quarterbacks, but they don't love any of them? Like, they can like J.J. McCarthy, they can like Drake Maye, but they can also like Jaden Daniels. But if they aren't like head over heels for any of these guys, are you going to burn the number 3 pick on a quarterback that you don't necessarily love just because you need a quarterback? So I'm a little skeptical on that front. Then also this. Let's just say they do get extra draft capital from the Minnesota Vikings, where they include that extra first-round pick for next season and maybe a future second or whatever it may be. They can trade up next season to go get a guy like Shedeur, to go get a guy like Quinn Ewers, whoever it may be. Just because the roster isn't ready this year, they could be ready next year, and that could be their time to strike. And also this. Let's just say they take a guy like Jaden Daniels or J.J. McCarthy or Drake Maye, and he doesn't work out. Because, I like all 3 of those quarterbacks, but obviously we know in the NFL, we really don't know how these guys are going to translate until we actually get some film on them in the league. Like, their whole front office could be fired immediately if they draft a quarterback number 3 and it doesn't end up working out. So those are 4 reasons why I think the Patriots say yes. But if the Vikings were going to have to trade up, it would be for the North Carolina quarterback, Drake Maye. The number 1 pro for him, he's got an unreal arm, can touch every blade of grass on the football field. He truly has that Herbert, Josh Allen level of arm talent. Then number 2, as a con for me, he's got happy feet in the pocket, but I think if he sits under a year with Kevin O'Connell, he'll be able to get that shirt up immediately. But I also like that he has some mobility in him. He's not like that, physical bruising rusher that Josh Allen is outside the pocket, but he actually runs very similar to Herbert, where he can make a linebacker miss. He can put a shoulder into a secondary player and just fight for those extra yards. Making plays out of the pocket is definitely his specialty. But a con I have seen when watching his tape, he's got a slower release. Obviously, we do know windows do close faster in the NFL compared to college football, so that could be something that definitely gets him into some trouble early on in his career. But again, I'm not really too worried about it. And then the number 1 pro, in my opinion, it's the size. 6'4", 230 pounds, just prototypical, first-round quarterback size on Drake Maye. So I'd be all in on him. I think the 2 cons he has, and also, his hips aren't really connected to his upper body too well. But, hey, you brought in his quarterback coach, Josh McCown. You could go fix this up in an offseason pretty fast. But let me know, would you accept this trade? Or if you're a Patriots fan watching this video as well, let me know your thoughts if you would do this deal. The Vikings sending 11-23, a future first and a 7th. Give me an A for accept or give me a D for decline. Let me know your thoughts on this deal down below. I would accept this trade. I'd do it in a heartbeat if I was the Minnesota Vikings. If you have a chance, go get Drake Maye or go get J.J. McCarthy. Go do it. No position in any sports moves the needle just quite like the quarterback spot. So I would definitely be all in for it. But coming up around the corner, we also got a report that the Cardinals are potentially open to trading down in this year's draft. We'll dive into that in a second. But first off, I got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you guys download the Game Time app and use promo code ChatSports, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. If you guys are planning on going to any, Minnesota Timberwolves playoff games, as they got a big-time win against the Phoenix Suns the other night. But if you guys are planning on going to a T-Wolves game and want to get that extra $20 off, make sure you guys do use promo code ChatSports. But what I love about Game Time is when you are buying your ticket, you can literally see the view from the seat in the app. So you guys know you're not going to be blocked by a random pole, or if you want to have a good, view of the concert stage, or, you guys want to be behind a certain team's bench, Game Time allows you that possibility. So make sure you guys do check them out. Download the Game Time app, and when you use promo code ChatSports, you guys will get $20 off your first purchase. That's ChatSports, promo code ChatSports. When you download the Game Time app and you plug that in before you make your first purchase, you guys will get $20 off. No matter what it is, Wild, Twins games, Timberwolves games, make sure you guys get hooked up today. Download Game Time if you haven't already, and take advantage of that sweet deal they have going on right now if you guys do use promo code ChatSports. Link for that in the comments and description of today's show. Let's talk about another report that came from Dianna Russini early on today, as she says, as for the Cardinals, like last year's draft, teams looking to trade up into the top, or for the 4th pick, may have to wait it out. GM Monty said he won't do a trade until they're on the clock. Why? Arizona wants to maximize the value in order to squeeze the competition as much as possible. So Russini is reporting right now that the Cardinals are not going to perform a draft or a trade in this year's draft until it is literally them on the clock. And that's kind of what I've been saying. It gets me to this. I feel like the Cardinals and Chargers are still the most likely options for the Vikings to trade up there and go get their guy. But again, it's not going to happen until draft day. Especially with the Chargers. The Vikings aren't going to risk trading up to, or trading up to 5 when they could still leave the door open for a Raiders or a Giants team or a Broncos team to jump them. So I still feel like it's most likely it's Cardinals or Chargers that the Vikings trade up with. But hey, now with this new report that the Patriots are willing to trade down, maybe we get a notification here any second that is the bombshell report around this year's draft, is that Minnesota trades up with New England. But this is a trade that I think could go down on draft day. I do have the Vikings getting an extra 6th-round pick in this, but pretty typical trade offer. Them just giving up 11, 23, and them landing number 4. I could also see the Vikings maybe including this year's 11 and then maybe next year's 1st and then wanting to keep 23. I think they could get creative with the Cardinals, but that's a trade idea I cooked up for them possibly trading with the Cardinals on draft day. Now, I do want to get to my quarterback rankings. I teased this in a video a couple weeks ago, and this is my personal fits with the Minnesota Vikings. I think number 1 for me, it's Drake Maye for a lot of the thoughts I explained early on in today's show, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But number 2 for me, I got J.J. McCarthy ahead of Jaden Daniels. And what I'm banking on here is just the potential of McCarthy. You know, he is 21 years old. When a guy like Daniels is 23, turning 24 here shortly, I just think McCarthy, I just like his intangibles. He's got a whip of an arm, and he's got great mobility as well. I just really think McCarthy is going to be one of those guys where I wouldn't be shocked if draft day comes around and he's the second pick in the draft and the Commanders just flat out take him. It's actually, we did have some odds shift that he is now plus 800 to go number 2 overall, so just keep your eyes out on that. But McCarthy for me is my second option. It gets me to number 3. And, you know, I am fine with the Vikings taking McCarthy, Maye, Daniels, or Penix because I do believe whoever the Vikings take will be the second best quarterback in this year's draft. So even though I have Daniels at number 3, if the Vikings would take Daniels, I would immediately be saying that he will be the second best quarterback in this year's class behind a guy like Drake Maye. But let me know, what is your dream scenario for the Vikings? Day 1 of the draft comes around. What is the number 1 thing that you want the Vikings to get done? For me personally, you guys probably know this, trade up and go land Drake Maye. I think the Vikings would be competing for Super Bowls for the next 10 years if they could go get them. So let me know, what is your dream scenario for Minnesota? And guys, we are going to be going live 30 minutes before the first pick of the NFL draft, so hit that sub button if you guys haven't already. Can't wait to hang out with you guys and just see who the hell the Vikings are going to draft or what their plan is, because it has been smokescreen season like crazy here lately. So it's just going to be interesting to see what ends up going down. But hit that sub button. See you guys next time. Skol Vikes.